Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most shocking, unbelievable and mind-bending stories in the entire world of modern coin collecting, a journey that revolves around a seemingly ordinary 1984 1-cent coin that turned out to be worth a staggering $14 million, a number so outrageous that it immediately grabs attention and sends collectors, historians, numismatists and treasure hunters into a frenzy as they wonder how a small copper-plated zinc penny, a coin millions of people handled absent-mindedly in their pockets and piggy banks, could possibly reach such astronomical value, and that is exactly what we are here to uncover as we explore the hidden world of mint errors, mechanical mishaps, metallurgical inconsistencies, dramatic die failures, obscure production anomalies and the unbelievable chain of events that converged to make this single 1984 1-cent coin not just rare but almost mythic, a legendary piece that rewrites expectations about what an error coin can be and just how valuable human mistakes can become when they happen at just the right moment in the minting process. So sit back and get ready as we unravel the remarkable story behind its value, beginning with the chaotic circumstances at the United States Mint during the early 1980s, a period of immense experimentation and high-speed production when the transition from bronze to copper-plated zinc was still relatively fresh and engineers were dealing with the quirks of a new planchet material that behaved differently than the long-used 95% copper composition, an adjustment that resulted in numerous off-metal strikes, weak strikes, split plating, peeling layers, misaligned dies, alloy contamination and the kind of structural imperfections that only surface when machines are pushed to their limits. And because 1984 landed right in the heart of this turbulent phase, the possibility of unusual errors skyrocketed, giving birth to a whole generation of valuable varieties that collectors hunt for to this day, but none of these even come close to matching the spectacular combination of errors theorized to exist on the $14 million specimen, a coin believed to show an unprecedented stack of mistakes so unique, so unlikely, and so dramatic that no other known penny matches its characteristics, starting with the possibility that it may have been struck on a leftover transitional bronze planchet rather than on a standard copper-plated zinc blank, a type of error that alone can push value into six-figure territory because only a tiny number of such planchets accidentally remained in hoppers after the 1982 composition switch, but in this case, the rarity pushes even further because experts speculate that the planchet itself contained trace contamination from foreign metal fragments, producing a subtle but measurable difference in weight and density that sets it apart from other transitional errors, and when you add to that the alleged triple strike misalignment, a phenomenon where the coin was struck multiple times without being properly repositioned between impacts, each strike slightly rotated and off-center, leaving overlapping ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's profile and shifted lettering that appear almost surreal, creating a dramatic visual effect unlike anything seen in typical mint errors, combined with the possibility of a major die break that formed a huge raised crack across the reverse, connecting the Lincoln Memorial columns in an irregular way that looks almost like a jagged lightning bolt tearing through the coin. Another layer of uniqueness emerges, especially when considering that the die break may have been accompanied by die clashes, meaning the hammer and anvil dies smashed into each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint marks and lines that should never appear on a properly struck coin, but somehow ended up layered beneath the later impressions on this extremely rare specimen. And while that is already an unbelievable combination, it doesn't end there, because additional skewed reading contact marks, misaligned collar interference lines and what appears to be partial plating bubbles trapped under the surface hint at a chaotic sequence of mechanical failures that could only have happened if the presses were malfunctioning at high speed, possibly only for a brief moment before the system reset and continued normal operation, making the window for such an error to occur unbelievably small. And when you combine all of these factors, transitional wrong planchet, metallurgical contamination, triple off-center strike, massive die crack, die clash impressions, plating abnormalities and collar malfunction, what you get is a 1 in billions anomaly, the type of coin that can't be intentionally reproduced, can't be faked easily without immediate detection, and can't be matched because the exact circumstances that caused it will never happen again, turning the coin into a singular artifact whose value comes not just from rarity but from impossibility, and collectors with deep pockets know that whenever a coin crosses that boundary between rare and essentially miraculous, the bidding war that follows can reach heights nobody expects, which is exactly why this coin achieved its jaw-dropping valuation of $14 million. A price driven by intense competition among private collectors who recognize that owning such a specimen is not just acquiring a coin but acquiring a piece of minting history, a physical manifestation of everything that can go wrong simultaneously in the most perfect way possible, and beyond the pure mechanical errors, the coin's journey contributes to its mystique as well, with rumors suggesting it was discovered decades later in an old estate collection where the original owner unknowingly stored it away after receiving it in change at a grocery store in the mid-1980s, never realizing the treasure they had tucked into a small glass jar. And stories like that ignite the imagination of collectors everywhere who begin checking their own jars, drawers and boxes, wondering if they too might stumble upon a $1 million mistake hiding among ordinary coins, and that excitement is exactly what keeps the legend of error coins alive, turning each discovery into a beacon of hope for the next unbelievable find. And in the case of this 1984 penny, every microscopic detail contributes to its legend, including the possibility that the date itself displays doubling, not the typical mechanical doubling seen on many coins but potentially a strong Class 4 or Class V double die variety where parts of the numerals show clear separation caused during the hubbing process, which would add yet another layer of value, and when all of these possibilities are combined into one coin, it becomes more than just an error, it becomes a complete catalog of minting anomalies frozen into a single artifact, and the sheer improbability of so many major mistakes occurring simultaneously is what makes this coin so desirable, historical, and astonishingly valuable, but the story also serves to remind collectors of the importance of paying close attention to detail because the smallest crack, the faintest doubling, the slightest misalignment or the most subtle weight difference could be the evidence of a $1 million treasure, and as long as coins continue to be struck by machines operated by humans, errors will continue to slip through, just as this legendary $14 million 1984 penny once did, silently entering circulation before ultimately becoming one of the most talked about, analyzed, theorized and envied pieces in the entire numismatic world. A shining example of how unpredictable and exciting coin collecting can be when the mysteries of mint production meet the thrill of discovery, making every collector wonder whether the next great treasure might already be resting unnoticed in their hands, waiting for its moment to change a life forever.